ready for wood element igniting the flow segment of the vinyasa flow for the wood element. And again, we'll go over, actually I'll show you the flow to begin with, side to side, the full flow in the normal pace. And then we'll break it down, showing you each pose and then the modifications, okay? So if I had to pick one favorite pose or one favorite vinyasa flow for igniting the flow out of all 5 series, I really like all of them. But I think if I had to pick one, it might be this one, just because I feel like it's really fun. This one in particular is really nice to do with music if you have that opportunity. All right, so you're going to begin this particular flow with your feet a little bit wider, 3.5 to 4 feet apart. And I'll just go through the movements quickly. You can just watch the first time. This one really connects a lot of poses. So it's the most dance-like, I believe, of all the vinyasa flows for igniting the flow. All right, so I'm gonna come to this side first. High lunge to side lunge to the center, dipping one shoulder and then the other, coming to the center, windmill to one side and then the other, coming back up through the center, shifting for Parivrtta Trikonasana, and then windmilling through the center for Parivrtta Trikonasana on the other side. Okay, so let's break that down a little bit at a time. First, without the modification, we'll do one side, and then with the modification. Okay? So first, 3.5 to 4 feet wide. Turning to the side, coming into a high lunge, hands in Apana Mudra. Be sure that front foot is wide enough so that the knee lands over the heel and not in front, just to protect the knees there. All right, first position, high lunge. And then moving to the second position, coming up and out to the center, crossing the arms, and a low lunge to the opposite side. So let's try that again. This can be a little bit tricky. So high lunge, crossing the arms, shifting to the other side. Then coming to center in a deep squat, opening up the liver channel as it runs up the inside of the legs, stretching the arms up, and then hands to knees. Okay, from here, a little bit of a shoulder dip and a dip, just to get a little bit of a twist in the rib cage, which will help to stimulate the liver. So right side, left side, and then coming to the ground, left arm first, right arm extends up for the twist, again, stimulating the liver. You can reach the arm back for a deeper twist, then release. Bring right hand to center, left arm extends for the twist. Then this hand comes around to the front of the thigh on the opposite side. Release. Coming back to center. Now prepping for Parivrtta Trikonasana. Now, for this one, if you have the full pose, then it's fun and easy. If this is a challenging pose for you, then what I suggest, because we move through this a little bit faster than normal if we're just focusing on the pose, then you just want to come into the pose part way. So just coming into it halfway versus trying to work your way all the way down into the pose. And then switching to the other side. Again, you can just come part way, bring the arm down part way or full. And unwind. Okay? So now for the modification. Basically, the one modification that will show is bringing the chair in front to help to support for the twisting through the center. And then you'll just be coming into Parivrtta Trikonasana part way as well as the other particular poses. So for the modification, starting on the same side, coming into high lunge and to the side. Now for these, you're just going to stay a little bit higher, coming to your level of comfort. When you come to the center, the chair will be there for you, and you can raise one arm back to the center and other side, back to the center, and arms coming up, turning to the other side. And again, you can just come here, get a little bit of a twist, and then coming forward and a little bit of a twist. So coming down is not a big deal. The twisting part will help to stimulate the liver channel, and your legs are spread apart, so you're getting a little bit of that opening coming up the inside of the body. So I'm going to show you that one more time, and then we'll begin to flow right to left without the modifications. Okay? So with the modifications one more time, coming high, side, staying high, coming to center with the chair. One arm comes up. You can wrap if you want. Then release. Other side, left arm coming up. Wrap if you want. And coming to center. Arms coming out. And again, a little bit of a twist of the arms. And here, a little bit of a twist of the arms. Okay? And then back to center. All right? So if you've done other forms of yoga and even vinyasa flow, we are focusing on generating the flow through the meridians. So this is more connecting pose to pose with less pauses in between, really focusing on generating the flow through the meridians with a flow connecting the poses together. So you can think of it almost more like a dance than learning yoga postures. That's how I think of it. That's how it feels to me when I go through my own practice. From start to finish, it feels like one long connected dance, moving from one segment to another, one posture to another. Okay, let's move this out of the way. All right, and let's begin. So we'll start to this side. Now we'll begin doing it side to side about 3 times in real time, so to speak. A little bit slower than I normally do it. All right, and we will begin. First coming to my left, your right, coming into high lunge, and then side lunge. Coming back to the center, hands to knees, drop one shoulder, then the other shoulder, back to center, coming down to the floor or the chair. One arm reaches up and wrap. Switch to the other side and wrap the arm. Release. Coming up to center. And Parivrtta Trikonasana. Coming to my right, your left side. And release. Or just coming part way if you're doing the modification. Right here is the modification. All the way down for the full flow. Back to center. From here we can go right to the other side. Coming into high lunge and low lunge to the opposite side. Inhale through the center, hands to knees. Dip one shoulder, then the other. Hands to the earth. Left hand to center, right arm up and wraps. Switch to the other side. And back to center. Okay, back to the right. Inhale, high lunge, side lunge, deep squat, hands to knees, dip one shoulder, then the other shoulder, hands to the earth. Right arm comes up and wraps and release. Left hand down, or right arm down, left other arm up and wraps. And coming up to center, Parivrtta Trikonasana. And back up, other side, windmill, Parivrtta Trikonasana. And back to center. High lunge, other side. Coming into high lunge, side, coming to center, up, hands to knees, dip one shoulder, then the other shoulder, coming to center, extend one arm overhead and wrap, and other one, and wrap. Back to center. All right, coming back to the other side and coming into high lunge, side, through the center, shoulder and shoulder, through the center, extend one arm up and wrap. And other side and wrap. And then coming back up, Parivrtta Trikonasana. And windmill to the other side. Parivrtta Trikonasana. Okay, high lunge. One more time each side. And across, back to the center for the deep squat, shoulder and shoulder, coming to the middle, hands to the earth, one arm up and wrap, the other arm and wrap, and release, arms up, and windmill, Parivrtta Trikonasana. And windmill, other side, Parivrtta Trikonasana. Coming right into the other side, high lunge, sweeping across, deep squat, hands to knees, shoulder, shoulder, and hands to earth, one arm up and wraps. And switch, and wraps, and coming all the way back up, and windmill, Parivrtta Trikonasana, and other side, Parivrtta Trikonasana. And back to center. Very good. So, as you can see, this one is the most dance-like of all the vinyasa flows. May take a little bit of time to get the coordination and the timing to allow it to feel like it flows. Just like in life, right? So we come up against resistances, feeling awkward, But as we move forward and gain momentum with the flow, then we begin to really get the energy moving. Those resistances begin to lighten up and dissolve. All right, so that concludes igniting the flow for the wood element channels, liver and gallbladder. Next, we come into deepening. And again, I think this is one of my favorite deepening series, deep hip openers. So let's just take a moment to complete the igniting the flow. This really gets the energy generating in the body. And I want you to take a moment to feel that. You can bring your hands in a palm mudra, middle and ring finger to the thumb. Just close the eyes for a moment. Bring your awareness to your internal energy, just noticing the shift from the beginning of the practice to now. And slowly open your eyes. Okay, so now we can begin the deepening practice. We're going to come to the floor, and we can just transition straight to the floor. We're going to come into pigeon pose. So you're going to come down and bringing that left foot forward in the hip opening position, extending the right leg back. And you can take a moment to come into this position. Now, modifications for this, if you really have difficulty coming to the floor, then you can do all of these positions from a chair. So I'm going to go through this flow completely right and left on the floor, and then at the end I'll show you each position on a chair. Okay, you can go ahead and try it on the chair or fast forward it and skip to that section if you're unable to come to the floor. All right, so a modification, if you can come to the floor but you have difficulty with the hip opener, is putting a little bit of height under the left hip. So we'll start with the left side. You can bring a little light, height, a folded blanket or pillow under the left hip to make this a little bit more comfortable. So working gently on opening the hip, opening into the gallbladder channel on the outside of the hip, liver channel on the inside. Okay, so working slowly with the breath to come deeper into the pose. Take a few deep inhalations and exhalations. And you can come onto your elbows if you are able. Really lengthening the spine, lengthening out through the extended right leg. Feeling the deepening in the left hip. Now, if you can come deeper, you can extend the arms overhead and fold all the way forward for the deep hip opener. Keep the breath smooth and steady. When you're ready, you can slowly release. Coming back up into pigeon. And then you're going to sweep the right leg across. Foot lands on the opposite side of the left knee. Hug that right knee into your chest, lift the spine. Take a couple of deep inhalations and exhalations. And you can stay the direction you are. I'm going to face forward so you're able to see this portion a little bit easier. In my own practice, I would stay facing that direction, but it'll be easier for you to see if I face forward. Bring the knee into the chest, shoulders moving down and away from the ears. You can close the eyes. I just naturally close the eyes. At this point, we're bringing our energy back in. We connected, consolidated our energy with the connecting. We began to expand the energy with initiating the flow and igniting the flow. And now we bring that expanded energy back into the core to really nourish us on a deep level. And then you're going to drop the right knee on top of the left. Now, if you're not able to go quite this deep, then just stay in that position with the knee up. Coming deeper into the pose, completing Garudasana. You're going to cross left arm over the right. And then release the arms, grab onto the soles of the feet. And you can slowly work your way forward, a little more deepening in the hips. And then inhale, coming back up. Now you're going to bring your feet wider, ankle over the knee, left ankle over the left knee, right knee over the left ankle. You can bring your elbow onto your knee to help with the gentle opening, so no forcing. If the hip doesn't want to quite open all the way right away, it will gradually. Just give it time with the breath. My hips are a little bit tight from all the athletic endeavors that I have engaged in most of my life. And yoga is a great counterbalance to all those intense athletic activities. CrossFit, intense hiking, running, cycling. It's a really nice balancing practice if you like your athletics. Keeps the body supple and strong, and keeps your internal energy generated. Okay, now we're ready for the other side. I'm going to turn to the side here, bringing the right leg into pigeon. Coming into the hip opener, settling into pigeon on the other side, extending the left leg, lifting the spine, following your inhalations and exhalations. Coming onto the elbows, following your breath here, feeling the opening of the gallbladder and liver channels around the right hip. And then extending your arms overhead. Keep your breath smooth and steady. And go ahead and come on up. Ready for the next phase, bringing the left leg, crossing it over to the opposite side of the right knee. And it will face forward for you. Bring your knee into your chest, shoulders dropping down away from your ears, lifting the spine. And then from here, you can drop left knee on top of the right. And completing with Garudasana, right arm over left, opposite of the knees. Releasing your arms, hands to feet, folding forward. Enjoying the hip opening. Now this area of the body really stores a lot of energy. Gallbladder, liver, also crossing here at the hip is the kidney, the bladder, the spleen, the stomach. So all of the leg channels cross through the pelvis. And as you're doing these hip openers, we're focused more on the liver and gallbladder, but you're really getting openings for all of those channels. So when you do these hip openers, you can release a tremendous amount of energy into your system that you can then use to nourish your organs. Okay, and from here, you're going to open ankle over knee. One of my teachers used to call this position logs of fire. If you have tight hips, you will know what I'm talking about. Mine are still glowing embers. Maybe not quite the fire that they used to be, but definitely still some burning. Which means to me that I'm releasing a lot of energy, so that's a good thing. Slowly coming forward. This can prepare you for Padmasana, if that is a goal for you. And if you can take Padmasana, you can add that into the practice following these postures, if you would like. And then release, coming into Sukhasana. And that completes the deepening portion of the wood element. Like I said, before we finish completely, I'm going to go ahead and show the modifications at the chair if you're unable to come to the floor. So I will do that now before we come into the dissolve portion. I'm going to grab my chair, center it here. Okay, so for the modifications for pigeon pose, you'll just take this ankle over knee position. You can bring your elbow to knee to help facilitate that opening. Working with the breath, folding forward at the hips, keeping the spine nice and extended. So that's what that will look like. And then bringing your knee, just crossing it over the other side, bringing your knee to chest. Don't worry about sweeping the other one across. We'll just keep it to the right. And then dropping that knee to the top. You can just keep a hold of your ankle here, or you can come into a cross-leg position to come into Garudasana. You can bring that foot to the other side of the lower leg to get a sense of connection there. And then you can unwrap and you can fold forward in this position to get some hip opening. Another option would be to bring your knee up and do a little bit of a twist. And then to complete with logs of fire, you can come back into this position where we began. which you might find to be a little more open the second time around. So that is how you can work in a chair for the deepening poses for the wood element channel. Now we'll bring the chair aside and we'll move on to the dissolve section, the relaxation position for the wood element. So for this one, as in the previous two, I will come down to the floor with you into Shavasana, and then I'll have you stay and I'll walk you through the meditation and connection into the liver. Now the liver lies on the right side of the body, just under the rib cage. It's a very large organ, takes up quite a lot of space on this side. All right, so when we go into connect, then that's the location that you're going to go for. All right, let's go ahead and come down to the mat to full relaxation. You can bring your knees together, hips or feet wide to begin, to help to relax the low back. Palms up towards the sky, lengthen the tailbone, draw the shoulder blades down and away from your down and away from your ears. Take a few deep inhalations and exhalations. Let everything go completely. You can stick with the knees bent, or if you feel like your back is settled, you can extend one leg and then the other. Now I'm going to go ahead and set up so I can guide you through the meditation. You can stay in Shavasana. Okay, now you can go ahead and place your left hand over the liver area, right hand on top. Begin to draw your awareness to the liver organ. And if you can, draw it deep inside. And first, just notice what the energy is like. Does it feel full of toxins and sludgy? Does it feel open and clear? Does it feel light or heavy? Does it feel burdened or at ease? And allow your own information to come. If some other word or description comes, and take note of that. Now the color for the liver and gallbladder is the color green in the Chinese medicine system. So you can send green energy through the liver as a healing energy. If there is another color that comes to you that feels better, then definitely go with that. Go with your own intuition. you can go a little bit deeper and ask if the liver has a message for you, a message for healing, a message for improving or shifting a life situation that may bring more ease and flow into your life. And go ahead and bring your awareness into the whole body, shifting it away from the focus of the liver. Take a few deep inhalations and exhalations. You can stretch down through your toes, stretch out through your arms and fingertips. Slowly roll to one side. Come up into a comfortable seated position. By opening the flow of the wood element channels, you open the gifts of clarity and right action. You can go ahead and open the eyes. And this concludes the segment for the wood element channel. And I hope you enjoyed this practice and continue working at it. And soon you'll find yourself flowing through the postures with grace and ease. Namaste.